Hey everybody, this is Dr. Wolf, and I've got a video here to show you how to use the library website to perform some of the searches that you'll need to do for our group assignments for class. Um, I've already pulled up the library website here, Library at Kennesaw, and what many students do is they type whatever is their search term here into the super search. That's not actually the best thing to do for our class, because in our class you're going to need to search through PsycInfo, which is a specific database. So we click Database by Title. PsycInfo starts with a P. We scroll all the way down to PsycInfo. Now I'm at home, and if you're at home or anywhere that is not on campus at an on-campus computer, you have to log in. But once you log in, you will be able to use the library just as if you were on campus, which I clearly did not type the right password. There we go. We are into the library. So this is our first EBSCOhost page. You can see that we are in the PsycInfo database. If you needed to change databases for some reason, you could, but you don't need to do that for this class. Now, you can use this basic search if you aren't going to put any of the additional specifiers on the search, or any what we call limiters when you limit your results. So let's say the search term I was given was happiness. So I search for that. And here are my results. Well, as you can see, the first several are books. Well, books aren't as useful for me for these assignments. So I can come over here and I can actually add the limiters in all kinds of different ways. For example, maybe I want just the academic journals. I could click here. And as you can see, I now only have academic journal results. If I go back to all results, I can just see how many are each different type. So it'll show me how many are academic journals, how many are books, dissertations, and so on. But once I click any of these boxes over here, it will limit the results that it shows me, which is really useful if I don't want to go to the library to pick up a book, or if I need a specific kind of result because of my project. Some of the other useful limiters is linked full text. When I click this, as you can see, suddenly this PDF or linked full text or HTML full text comes up on my results. What this means is that PsycInfo will not show me a single result that is not easily downloadable from the website right here at EBSCOhost. This is really nice if you're in a time crunch and you only want to have something where the PDF is available immediately and you don't want to have to order things through interlibrary loan or go to the library itself. Some of the other things that are useful is I can change what year my results come from. So if I just want something that's, let's say, since the 1980s, that changes my results. Well, 80s were a while ago. What if I only want something that's been published in the last 15 years? Well, notice how our number keeps going down. And I can keep doing this. Let's say I want something only in the last 10 years. So again, I can also stack some of these limiters. So notice how this says publication last 10 years. That's the one we just did. Maybe I also want it full text. And see, we've gotten down to this number. Let's see, and all of those happen to be academic journals, but I could do other kinds of limiters if I wanted to kind of further make this a smaller amount of results. So let's go back though to EBSCOhost. This was our basic search page. The basic search is nice, but some of the things that are even more useful, we use an advanced search. So maybe I want happiness, but I want happiness to be what's called a keyword search, meaning that the authors of the article specifically outline that happiness should be a keyword to find their article. I can do that. And as you can see, my number is very different than the original time I just put happiness in without selecting a field here. All right. Maybe I want happiness to be specifically in the title. Oop, and see how that number That number is getting smaller. I can also search for all kinds of things that are useful, like a specific author's name. I can search for a specific date for the publication. I can also search for publication name. That would be if happiness is in the title of the journal, not just the article, or in the title of the book. So here are the results for that one. Um, I can also do the year instead of a specific date. Year is a little more broad than that. But as you can see, there's lots of different things that I can select here to limit down my search to make my results more targeted and more useful. So one of the last things I want to show you is, let's say we've got linked full text, and I'm looking through these, and notice how this one says cited references 35. Well, if I click on that, what it's going to show me is these are all of the articles that original article cited in their reference page. To say that another way, let's say I read this parent-child discrepancies article, and I really liked what it said, but I particularly liked what it said in the literature review section, where it was summarizing other people's research. Well, this would be the reference page for that parent-child discrepancies article. And instead of having to type in each article to try to find them, they're all right here already targeted for me, and I can click this PDF full text for the ones that are available and go ahead and download some of them. So that can save a lot of time. One of the other things that's useful is, and I'll need to find an example, is if it says instead of cited references, times cited in this database. I'm not finding any of those, so let's try a different search term real fast. So I had to play around with my search terms to get a good example for you, but here we are, we're looking at well-being as a keyword search. We have a couple of limiters here, and as you can see, there's some new information. So we have cited references, which again would be this article's reference page, but now we have times cited in this database, and this one has 2, and like this one has 6. And this one has 11. So let's say we read the Levels of Mental Health Continuum article, and we really liked it. But as you can see, it's from 2009, which has been a little while. Maybe we want to see what's the new things that have been done since this article was published, but articles that specifically cited this one, the Levels of Mental Health article, so that we know that there's a continuation of whatever's going on in this article in the newer ones. So I can click this, and as you can see, all of these are articles and books that cited that original health continuum study. So this would be important if you found an article that was a little bit older or maybe a lot older, but it was a really important article and you enjoyed it, but you wanted to see what's the cutting edge stuff that's being done since this article was published. Notice how several of these even have, like this one's from 2011, and 12 studies have cited this one. So there's lots of reasons why that search might be useful. By the way, these two things right here will not show up unless you are specifically in EBSCOhost. Several of the other databases don't actually show these two, so it's very important that you remember that you're doing PsycInfo searches. Well, that's it for this video, and if you have any questions, remember you can always post them to the FAQ discussion board.